Welcome to Carven, where we uncover the deeper psychology behind attraction, communication, and meaningful connections. Most people think attraction is created by saying the perfect words, but the truth goes much deeper than that. Real connection is built through emotional clarity, genuine appreciation, and the energy you bring into every interaction. When your words, intentions, and presence align, people don't just hear you, they feel you. Today, we uncover the subtle communication shifts that create deeper attraction and lasting connection. Let's take a moment to slow things down, because what we're discussing today is not about manipulation, games, or trying to become someone you're not. It is about communication that creates a genuine emotional impact. The kind of communication that feels calm, confident, and authentic. As people mature, attraction becomes less about chasing approval and more about how you carry yourself. Many men believe attraction comes from appearance, financial success, or having the perfect line at the perfect moment. But when you look at relationships that create real connection, something much deeper is happening. There is an emotional message being communicated beneath the words. It does not demand attention. It does not seek validation. It simply expresses confidence, awareness, and presence. After observing countless interactions between men and women, one pattern becomes clear. The men who naturally create attraction are not always the loudest, the most impressive, or the ones who appear flawless. What separates them is emotional direction. They know how to express themselves without creating pressure. They understand their feelings without making someone else responsible for managing them. Many conversations lose their emotional power, not because the words are wrong, but because they come from hesitation. A man may hide his intentions, soften everything he says, or avoid being direct because he fears rejection. Although this might feel safe temporarily, it often creates uncertainty, and uncertainty slowly weakens attraction. People are naturally drawn toward clarity. When someone communicates from a place of self-awareness and confidence, it creates emotional safety. Not because they are controlling the situation, but because they are comfortable with who they are. This is why small changes in language can create a completely different feeling. The words themselves are not magical, the meaning behind them is what matters. When a man speaks from ownership of his choices, his energy changes. His voice becomes calmer, his presence becomes stronger. The interaction feels more stable. There is a major difference between seeking approval and expressing genuine intention. Approval seeking creates pressure because it says, "I need you to respond a certain way for me to feel okay." Intent creates openness because it says, "This is how I feel, and I am comfortable being honest about it." One creates tension, the other creates connection. Think about how different it feels when someone communicates clearly compared to someone who constantly avoids saying what they truly mean. One feels refreshing and easy, the other feels emotionally exhausting. People naturally move toward interactions that feel peaceful and away from those filled with confusion. This is not about forcing someone to respond a certain way. It is about becoming honest with yourself first and allowing that honesty to appear naturally in your communication. Real confidence does not need to be performed. It feels calm. And remember this, attraction is not created by saying more. Often it grows when you say less, but your words carry more meaning. Now let's look at the first important shift that changes the emotional energy of a conversation. It begins when a man stops speaking from uncertainty and starts speaking from self-respect. When someone clearly communicates what they want, something subtle happens. The other person no longer has to guess what is happening emotionally. And guessing creates tension. Clarity creates relaxation. From a psychological perspective, Attraction develops more naturally when both people feel emotionally comfortable. A man who calmly expresses his intentions sends a powerful message. I can handle whatever happens next. That message matters more than the actual words. It shows emotional responsibility. It communicates that the other person does not need to carry the weight of his confidence, his fears, or his reactions. This is not about being demanding, it is about being present. There is a difference between pressure and confidence. Pressure tries to force an outcome. Confidence allows space for a response. A clear invitation feels different from a demand because it respects the other person's freedom. That emotional balance creates trust. When communication is vague, the hidden message is often insecurity. The other person can sense hesitation, fear of rejection, or uncertainty beneath the surface. But when someone speaks with calm intention, the interaction feels cleaner. There is no emotional confusion, there is simply honesty. Timing matters too. Expressing strong feelings without a genuine connection can feel unnatural. But when clarity comes after real emotional understanding has developed, it feels authentic. The deeper reason this works is emotional ownership. When you take responsibility for your desires, you stop waiting for someone else to confirm your worth. You stop asking for permission to be yourself. That inner stability is noticeable. Many men believe attraction fades because they are not interesting enough. But often the real issue is emotional uncertainty. The interaction lacks direction. Clear intention creates a foundation. However, intention alone is not enough. Confidence without emotional awareness can feel self-focused. True attraction comes from combining certainty with appreciation, confidence with kindness, and honesty with emotional understanding. Because the strongest connections are not built through performance, they are built when someone feels safe enough to experience the real person standing in front of them. Without appreciation, even clear intention can feel incomplete. It may come across as focused only on what you want, rather than creating a genuine emotional connection. But when appreciation is added, intention becomes something much deeper. It creates an emotional impact that people can actually feel, and real appreciation is not the same as giving compliments just to receive a reaction. Flattery is often a hidden request. It is used to gain approval, attention, or affection. True appreciation is different. It is given freely because you genuinely recognize something valuable in another person. The mind can sense the difference. When someone feels truly appreciated, not just admired for their appearance or what they provide, but understood for who they are, it creates a feeling of emotional safety. The message they receive is simple. I am noticed. I matter. I am valued. That feeling is powerful because many people move through life feeling unseen. Most interactions today are quick, distracted, and often based on what someone can offer rather than who they truly are. When appreciation is combined with clear intention, attraction changes completely. Desire no longer feels like a need for validation. It becomes a conscious choice. And there is a major difference between being wanted and being needed. Need creates emotional pressure because it carries fear of losing something. Choice creates freedom because it comes from confidence. This is also where authenticity becomes essential. Appreciation only has power when your words match your energy. Your tone, your expressions, your body language, and your presence all communicate something. The human nervous system is incredibly sensitive to inconsistency. If your words say one thing but your actions communicate something different, people often feel that disconnect even if they cannot explain it. That is why alignment matters. When your words, emotions, and behavior tell the same story, trust naturally develops. Speak calmly. Allow your words to have space. Maintain natural eye contact. Do not rush to fill every silence, because sincerity needs room to be felt. Timing also plays an important role. Appreciation becomes most meaningful when it appears during moments of genuine connection. After a deep conversation, during shared laughter, or after a moment where both people feel present with each other. Those moments create what psychology often describes as an emotional association. A person does not only remember the words you said, they remember the emotional experience connected to you. They remember feeling comfortable. They remember feeling understood. They remember feeling appreciated without pressure. Those emotional memories often last much longer than simple compliments. From an emotional well-being perspective, healthy interactions like this create less stress and more balance. They leave both people feeling clear instead of confused, connected instead of drained. The goal is not to become perfect with your communication. The goal is to become genuine while taking responsibility for your own emotional state. When you are secure within yourself, your communication naturally becomes more confident, warmer, and more honest. So remember these important shifts. Speak with purpose. Appreciate with sincerity. Make sure your words and your presence are aligned. Attraction is not something you force through techniques or performance. It grows naturally when confusion disappears and authenticity takes its place. When you show up as someone calm, genuine, and emotionally present, you create the foundation where real connection can begin. The strongest connections are not created by trying to impress someone or saying the perfect thing. They are built when you communicate with confidence, appreciation, and genuine emotional presence. When you become clear within yourself, your words naturally become more powerful and your energy becomes more attractive. Because real attraction begins when you stop performing and start showing up as your authentic self.